Yo, what up, everybody? It's your boy Casket King, and I'm here with the historian.
Yo, what is up, everybody? I am the historian. I'm here with the Casket King. Today's topic of conversation is middle school,
Yeah,
and right, this is something that I'm really trying to get. I'm trying to kind of force Casket to talk about because I think people are interested in learning. Casket, when did you drop out of school?
when I was 16 in 8th grade,
You were 16 in eighth grade, and did this come? This was your second year of eighth grade, was it not?
I would have had to have taken it again if I had decided to go back.
Right. You didn't go back, so you completed eighth grade, and then they told you you're going to have to repeat eighth grade. And you said, no, I'm old enough to where I don't have to go back again. I'm just going to quit.
Pretty much.
Pretty much. Well, there are a lot of interesting stories, and I think I've just called this middle school. These might be only eighth grade stories, actually. Um, why don't we start with, because the video seemed to start with as what made you drop out? What was the impetus of dropping out?
It was just having to deal with people and the school and some of the teachers.
Where are you living at the time that you drop out?
I was living in the trailer that was haunted.
Was this a trailer that you had the dream that there was you had a dream of a lady
No,
and the
this is a
lady
different
said,
place.
"Okay, so how is this trailer haunted?"
Someone had died in the trailer, and the landlord's like, "Yeah, it's haunted."
Where is this trailer and who are you living with? Is this with your mom or your dad?
My dad.
Well, you're with your dad. Do you remember what city you're living in at this
I
time with the
was
trailer?
in Tampa.
You're in Tampa, Florida, living with your dad. How long have you been living with your dad?
Oh, for years at this point.
So, for your entire middle school career, would you say you're living with your dad?
No, I started 6th grade still living with my grandmother, and then I moved to my dad's, and I went from 6th, 7th, and 8th grade living with my dad.
Okay, so we'll say for the majority of middle school and the majority of your advanced education, I guess we would say, if you dropped out of eighth grade, you're living with your dad in primarily trailers.
Trailers, duplexes, stuff like that.
It's a story for another time, and we hope we can get to it. Um, what is sixth grade like? Do you remember? Do you have any memories of sixth grade?
Yeah, I needed glasses. And nobody believed me until I got to 6th grade. All through fifth,
Why? What?
all through 5th grade, I needed glasses, and no one would take me seriously until I started 6th grade. And I'm like, yeah, I can't see the board
Why do you think they didn't take you seriously?
because my grandmother was a big fucking bitch.
Why? How did your grandmother factor into it?
Because that's where I was living at the time, and she would have had to pay for it.
And she was just like, "No, he can see the board. He's lying."
Pretty much.
So you get to sixth grade. How does getting your first glasses? How does that work?
Well, they fucking put shit in your eyes and do this and that, and then you gotta wear sunglasses the rest of the day because your eyes are all dilated and fucked up and full of dye.
Who do you go with? Is it just you and your dad go to get the glasses?
Yeah, and he wasn't too happy about it. He fucking punched me.
Really? Why? Why did he punch you? And
Because
who
he was
made you
pissed
get the
off because he
glass?
had to do something on his day off.
Where did he punch you? In your body, in your face?
Yeah, in the face.
He punched you in the face.
Yep.
How hard and how many times? And where are you that he punched you in the face? Is it in the house? Is it in the
We were in the
car?
car. We were in the truck. And we
You're
were
in the
looking and we
truck.
were looking for the address and I couldn't see because of the sun. And he fucking smacks me in the face.
What do you say when he smacks you? Do you
Well,
say
what can you
anything?
say? I'm like 12 years old and fucking terrified.
Is this typical? Do you say it's just another day?
Pretty much.
Did you prefer to be living with your dad than your grandma?
Honestly, I was just waiting for her to die so that we could move back in together.
You could move back in with your mom.
Yeah, and all three of us would be like a family again, you know?
So you were saying, I don't want to live with my mom and my grandma because my grandma's there, but I don't want to live with my dad because he's abusive. And I just want my grandma to die.
Basically, yeah.
Who did your grandma's house go to eventually when she did die?
It still hasn't been sold.
It didn't she like didn't will it to anybody?
It went to somebody, but they've yet to sell it.
What why didn't it go to your mom? Did your grandmother
It
not?
fucking should have gone there.
Why? Explain why it didn't go to the mom. Your mom.
Because my grandmother's a vindictive bitch.
Okay, you're going to the eye doctor appointment. Who made the eye doctor appointment? Was your dad or was it like the sixth grade teachers?
My mom. Like, I had gotten my glasses when I was living with my mom. But my glasses had broke, so my dad had to take me to the glasses
Well,
place.
explain why did you get your glasses? When did you get your glasses? Like, explain the first time you get your
When
glasses.
I was 12, I think. Maybe 13.
So you're living with your mom and your grandma.
Yeah.
Did the teachers say Ben needs glasses, or do you just say I really need glasses to your mom and your
Well, the
grandma?
teachers were finally like, hey, you might want to think about getting your kid glasses because you can't see the fucking board.
Why? So you get your first glasses with your mom, and I assume everything goes smoothly
Yeah,
with
and they
her.
break within like 3 months.
Why? How did they break?
A screw came loose and shot out, and the lens popped out, and we couldn't find the screw.
So a screw breaks loose, and now you're not with your mom and your grandma, you're with your dad now, and you say a screw breaks loose. I need to get new glasses. What does he say when you, for the first time, you break it up and you say I need to get new glasses?
He was fucking pissed.
Was he like, no, we're not getting you new
No, he
glasses?
knew he had needed glasses so I could see because he wore glasses. And he was pissed off he had to do it.
So when you knew him, he was always wearing glasses.
Yeah.
So he says, okay, what the F ever. I don't want to do it, but we're going to go get you glasses. And then you're in the truck and you're going to get the glasses. And he's saying, where's the address? And you can't figure out where the address is because you need glasses and
Well,
you're
that and I'm like
fumbling with it.
12.
You're 12.
Like, I
You're
don't know where I
fumbling with
am. Like, I just moved here.
where are you living with your dad at this point where you need the glasses?
I was living in Tarpon.
You're living in Tarpon, and now we mentioned this in the light switches video, but are you living in that sort of big house duplex trailer
I
type
was living
place?
in the duplex.
So right now, you're getting the glasses, you're living in the duplex, you say, Dad, I need new glasses. He doesn't want to get them, but he knows he's got to get them. You get in the truck, and you say, I can't figure out the address because we're in a new place. I don't know where we're going. And he hits you in the face. How does he hit you? Is it like a backhanded slap? Is it like a punch?
like like in between that.
What is the typical abuse of your dad? What is he doing? Is it typically a face like slap to you? Like, what is the typical abuse from your
I don't
dad
know. He might
like?
slap me or grab me or beat me to the ground. I don't fucking know.
Was it daily?
More like monthly. It's like it would happen like once a month, real bad.
Why do you think he's doing it? What is making him beat you? Do you think, well, I'll just say that. Why do you think he's doing it?
I don't fucking know.
Do you think his father beat him?
Oh, for sure.
What did you ever tell your mom, hey, dad beats me?
Yeah, she got pissed off.
What happened then? What's the story of you telling your mom dad beats me, and what's the story there?
She beat the shit out of him.
But what happened that you said, hey, dad beats me? Was it a very bad beating?
Kind of, yeah.
Do you remember what spurned you saying? Like, what did you do wrong that he beat you, and then you told your mom, finally, you
I
just
had
said,
tripped over a bucket of oil.
what? So you were helping him with the car?
Yes.
Now, a lot of Casket fans wouldn't know this. Casket's dad was a mechanic, and Casket comes from several generations of basically race car drivers, and his dad's career came from cars. So, what is it like? Are you like his garage is like he's working at a garage under the house, and like you're just hanging out there, or how does it work?
Well, I'm basically just holding a flashlight and getting yelled at.
Where are you? Are you at Tarpon Springs at this point?
No, this was when we lived in Holiday.
Okay, you're in Holiday, Florida. You're holding a flashlight while he's changing oil or something on a car. You tip over an oil pan or whatever, and then what happens?
He fucking gets out from under the car and beats the shit out of me.
What does he do? And I know it's
He fucking drags
trauma.
me into the house and beats the shit out of me. Fucking makes me clean up, beats the shit out of me while I'm trying to clean up.
I I know it seems wrong because you don't want to make someone who's gone through trauma relive their trauma, but just for the sake of, posterity, what does it mean? Like, if you could describe bit by bit what happens. Okay, at first, he's changing oil or something, you knock over the oil pan, and then what happens? Your trajectory is he beats you into the house, and then he says clean up, and then you're cleaning up, and he's feeding you like literally bit by bit what's happening and what's going on, because the
I don't want to
audience
talk about
the,
it.
okay, you don't want to talk about it. The audience doesn't understand this. I don't think you've ever gone into this on your channel before, and this is what I'm kind of trying to get at. But yeah, people who've been through traumatic experience, they don't want to talk about traumatic experience. Okay, whatever. He's abusive. How long would you say it went on? Was it like 20 minutes?
Couple of hours.
Couple of hours. So it's that long. Was it that it was so intense that you hadn't talked to your mom about it before, but it was such an intense experience that you said, I need to tell mom because I need somebody to be here. I need somebody to interject here, and I need some help. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
You tell your mom did he ever beat you when it was you and your mom and him in a house together?
No, because he knew not to, because he knew my mom would get pissed off.
What does your mom say when you say, what do you say? Do you remember how you told your mom?
I just remember being on the phone.
So you're living with him still, and you're like in a secret place or something. You're like in the bathroom or something, and you're on a call with your mom, and you tell
I'm
her,
like
and you say
locked
like
myself in the closet.
in your bedroom closet,
Yeah.
you lock yourself in the closet, and you say like, "Dad's beating me," or "He beat me for like 2 hours straight." Did you have like a black eye? Did you have like any physical? Did you have bruises?
No, he was smart. He would never leave marks.
Was it a lot of slaps?
Oh, he would just grab you and shake you and beat you to the ground and kick you.
Did you? Yeah. What does your mom say after you tell her?
She got pissed off.
Does she give him a talking to and say, "You're not going to touch Ben anymore"?
I know. I think the next time they saw each other, I can't fucking remember what happened.
Does it change after that point?
No.
Did you ever go back to your mom and say it's happening still, or did you say I did it before and it didn't change, so I'm not going to try it again?
I can't remember.
What grade are you when that happens? That specific incident that spurs you to say, "I'm going to call my mom and say I'm being
I
abused."
was in
What are you in
7th
sixth?
grade.
You're in seventh grade now. You're in Holiday, Florida. How many different how many different houses did you live in, or spaces did you live in while you're a middle schooler? From, let's just say, sixth to eighth grade.
Alright, let me count them.
Count out loud by saying, "Here, I was here first, and then I was there, and then
Okay, I
I
was
was
at my
there."
grandmother's. And then I was with my dad. We were living in the duplexes. Then we lived in Holiday. And then we lived with my uncle for a couple of weeks. Then we moved to a little place called Pressler's Motel.
Right, I remember that.
And then we moved into the trailer that was haunted, where the guy got shot over the pizza.
Oh yeah,
And then we moved to the duplexes.
you moved back to the duplex.
Oh, no, no, the duplexes is when I had already quit. I had quit while living in the haunted trailer.
But are these the same duplexes that you had lived in earlier?
No, this is different duplexes.
Where are the first duplexes? Are they in Tarpon Springs
Yeah, Tarpon
or?
Springs.
Okay, I'll have to figure this out later. But okay, you moved to a different duplex. But I guess this was just about your middle school. So in your middle school, it goes grandma, duplex, haunted trailer. Are those the only places?
Holiday.
So where are you living in Holiday? Correct me, and I know everybody listening is going to say we just haven't heard it, but it's you start with grandma and then you go to Holiday. Where are you living in
No, I
Holiday?
go I go
Trailer?
from Grandma
Okay.
to the duplexes in Tarpon,
Okay.
and then I go to Holiday, where the haunted trailer.
Okay. And you drop out when you're in the haunted trailer.
No, this is a different haunted trailer.
Okay.
And then I went to go live with my uncle for a couple of weeks.
Oh yeah. So this is your dad's brother?
No, it's my mom's brother.
Are you living with your dad, or are you?
Yeah, I'm still living with my dad. He's there too.
You're living with your dad with your mom's brother, but your mom and dad are not together anymore.
Correct.
So what is that like? Does your uncle like your dad, and how does that
I mean,
dynamic
I guess
work?
they kind of got along, didn't get along. I have no idea. I was 13 at the time. I was too busy with life to notice.
What was your uncle like?
Oh, he's an alright guy.
Do you remember what he did for a job?
Oh, a little bit of everything, really.
Is he still around?
Oh, yeah, he's still around.
And when's the last time you saw him?
It's been a while. I need to visit.
Is he still in Florida?
Yeah.
Oh, you do need to visit him. But okay, you're with him. I think it's strange. I think it's really strange that you're with your maternal uncle, but you're with your dad, but your mom and dad divorced. Why did your mom and dad exactly get divorced? Okay, obviously they're not getting together, but how come why is it that
Well,
your
the
mom
thing
and
is,
dad
they
get
were never
divorced?
married.
Yeah, that's true. You should explain that. They were never married. I
Yeah.
forgot about that. There's a complicated thing that I uncovered actually looking into legal records, and though in which your dad sued your mom for child support when
He
he
was
was.
he was forced to do that. He had to do that, otherwise they weren't going to give him his monthly like retirement checks.
What is it like? I don't really understand that. Is your mom like angry at this? Like,
No, we saw it coming. We knew it was coming. We suspected it.
so you're. I would say most. I guess you're. Before your dad dies, do you mostly live with your mom or your dad? I would kind of say your dad, I guess. You live mostly with your dad.
Well, from when I was like 12 until I was 18, yeah.
Why do you get called Ben Frank Music after your dad, who is called Ben Frank Music? As you know, Casket fans might not know, but Casket's real name is Ben Frank Music the Third. And there's a whole history that we could get in behind there that I'm trying to get in with my history and my biography, because it's a very interesting history. But why is it that your parents aren't married? Why won't you be named your mother's maiden name? Why was it that you were named after your father? Was there any discussion of, okay, we're not married, but we're going to call Ben after my name, and your father was Junior,
Well,
and
my
your
mom
father said,
wanted to
well,
name me Jack.
really? I
So
never
that,
even
that
heard
was
that.
almost my name.
Why didn't Jack become your name?
Because of my dad's a stubborn asshole.
Did she want to call you Jack and then her last name?
Nah, probably his last name.
One time I remember you said that your earliest pseudonym, or whatever you would call it, it was Jack Blackmore. Do you think you gravitated towards Jack because you said, well, my mom wanted to call me Jack?
Maybe.
Well, okay. So you drop out of middle school when you're at the haunted trailer, the second haunted trailer.
Yes.
How did the two haunted trailers differ? What was the problem? What was the haunting with the first haunt? Why do you call the first trailer
Hold on, give me 1 second.
haunted? Yeah, I know. I understand. Casket has COPD, and this is a medical emergency, and he needs to cough, and we respect it. Are you okay, Casket? He needs a second. I can tell.
Okay, I'm good, I
This
think.
is this is what I'll say. This is the face of COPD. It's not pretty. It's a serious disease. Don't smoke and don't allow yourself to inhale secondhand smoke. Casket says it was mostly secondhand smoke, in my opinion.
I was around smokers
Uh,
my whole life.
Casket, was your father a smoker?
I think he was before I was born.
Who? Why do you say secondhand smoke my whole life? Who was smoking?
Grandparents, uncles.
What do you think about smoking? Do you look at them now and say, "Ah, you shouldn't have been smoking, man. You hurt me."
I mean, I agree it's a dirty habit, but you know what? It's your body, and if you want to smoke, I say fucking smoke. It's your free will. Fucking do what you want.
We could get into that, but okay. Before you were coughing, what I was bringing up was why was the first trailer haunted and why was the second trailer haunted and how did the hauntings differ?
Okay, the first trailer was haunted by like a little old lady.
Was this the lady who told you in a dream that there's something
Yes.
buried in the backyard? Okay,
Yeah.
explain this story. Explain the whole story. Pretend I didn't even say anything. Explain the story because the fans want to know.
I had a dream where I was in my backyard and there was this old lady there, and it's like for some reason I recognize her, and I recognize her as like, oh, this is the ghost of the house that we've been feeling and seeing doors move and shit. You know what I mean? And she's like pointing to the tree, and like next to the tree is a hole. Like they're dig there, and you're gonna find something.
And when you told me this story, I remember I asked you, did you dig there?
And
And what
I
was your
said
response?
no.
Why did you choose not to dig there?
I don't know. I was afraid. I guess
What were you afraid of?
I was afraid I might actually fucking find something.
I feel like, who were you living with at this time? Is this who? Is this your dad?
It's my dad and this other family.
Is this the duplex where you move from the duplex to the trailer with your dad and the other family?
Yeah.
Do you think that you didn't dig because you said, if I dig, my dad's going to be like, why the F did you dig a hole in the backyard? And then he
That
beats
may
you.
have also been a factor.
Were you beaten while you're at the house with the other family?
Yeah.
In front of the other family?
No, he would like drag me to the other room.
Explain the trailer with the other family because I know people are interested in this. What is it like? How many rooms are there? Where does the other
There's
family
two
live?
rooms, two bathrooms, a big living room that's like connected to like a semi-big kitchen. Like it's a trailer, but it's like a double wide.
Who lives in what room?
Me and my dad live in the back room, and the other family lives in the other room.
What does you and your dad's bedroom look like? Is there two beds?
Yeah, there's like one big bed and like one little like mattress on the floor, and there's like a walk-in closet.
What happens the first time you go into the trailer and it's like how does your dad introduce it and how do you move from the next place? Is it like we got to get out of here? Like explain the whole transition phase.
Basically, it's like, yeah, they sold the land, so we've got to go. And there's another hurricane coming, so we've got to move now.
So
Because when I moved to Holiday, we had just been hit by like three hurricanes in a row, and we were gonna get hit by two more.
okay, so Where were you living before her? Holiday was it Tarpon?
Yeah.
So you're at Tarpon, and where are you in Tarpon? If you can remind me, are
I
you
was
in
on
the?
Tarpon Lake.
But are you in the big house sort of place?
No, I was in the duplex.
Okay, you're in the duplex, and then it's they sold the land. We got to get out of here. There's a hurricane coming, so you say, okay, like whatever. I'm used to moving, so we move to the new place, and then you get there, and did you know it's going to be a trailer with another family?
Yeah, I knew that.
What? How does your dad introduce the fact that we're living in a trailer with another family? What does he tell you?
It's like, well, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, but what does he like? Literally, if you can remember, what does he say? Like when he's introducing the fact that we're gonna move and we're gonna move with into a trailer with a new family. Like, how does he say it?
I don't remember.
So he says, "Okay, we got to move with into a trailer with new family," and you move there, and you get there. What's the other family like?
Uh, well, let's just say we clashed,
Why?
personality wise.
How did you clash? You got to explain this.
I I don't know how to explain it.
Was it? I don't know. It's tough to say. Like, explain the other family. Was it like who is it? Is it a mom and a dad and a kid, or what is it
It
like?
was a mom, two teenage daughters. They're like 7-year-old daughter, and the dad, and I think there was a brother who was like in his 20s.
Where, so in terms of age, who do you, so you're like one of the teenage daughters like closest to you?
No, they didn't want to hang out with me because I guess I was just uncool.
What was it? What was the atmosphere like? Like you move in. Do you remember the first day of moving in? What was it like?
There was a lot of furniture and stuff left over from the previous tenants. So we were all going through it, claiming stuff.
So the other families moving in at the exact same time?
Yeah, because they lived in the big house on the property. We all had to get out of there because they had sold the property.
Oh, really? So this is all like everybody's from the same, like compound, and then they're
Yeah,
like, we
yeah,
got to get
yeah.
out. This is a very detailed story that we'll have to go into later. But okay, you get into this double wide, if I remember correctly, right? It's a double
Right,
wide.
right.
You get into a double wide. What is it like when you're living? Did you ever live with just you and your dad in the same room before? Was it ever like you had you? This is was it like
Well, when we lived in the duplex, we only had one room, so
what is it like living in a duplex and you're
well,
living
you
with your
had you had a
mom?
living room that was attached to a kitchen. That was like the main part of the house. You had like a little bathroom, and then to the side was like a room.
What? Okay, what's the bedroom like? Is everybody living in the same room?
Yeah, me and my dad were just living in the same room. He's got his bed, I've got mine.
So your mom doesn't live in the duplex.
No.
Okay, so it. So every time you were with your dad, were you living in the same room with your dad?
Up until we lived into the second haunted trailer, yeah.
What is it like living in the same room with your dad? Is
Oh,
it
it
just
fucking
like,
sucks, dude. It fucking sucks.
what's it like? Explain.
You can't get away from the fucking dude.
Did you ever like your dad? Was there ever a time in your life where you were like,
Yeah, when I
oh,
was a little kid and I didn't know any better.
when does that change? Like, how old are you?
I don't know, probably like 9, 10, maybe 8 at the earliest.
And I'm gonna guess it's an abuse issue that there was some abuse that changed that you said, okay, I don't like my dad anymore. Is that accurate? Is that
Yeah,
the turning point?
yeah.
What do you think about your dad? I mean, I guess he must be dead for like it's over 10 years at this point, isn't
He's
it?
been dead since '08.
If I could say casket, I could
In 4 years, it'll be 20 years.
20 years and 4 years. Do you feel like your dad changed your life and that the way he the way he acted upon you, I suppose, created the casket that we're looking at today? Is it his fault in some way that he was so abusive physically?
Yeah.
If I could say casket, I could let you see your dad today as a ghost. Would you say no? I don't want to see him.
I'd probably go at him with a bat.
So you think today, now as an adult, you'd say I would face him as an adult because as a child, he had the upper
Now, you
hand and
don't
he knew it.
understand. On my 18th birthday, I was going to beat the shit out of him. And he went into the hospital 2 days before.
Yeah, absolutely. He died just about your 18th birthday, didn't he?
Yep.
So explain that. Explain that you wanted to beat the shit out of him. What was that story?
Well, I figured I'm 18, I'm going to be a man. My guess is he's going to kick me out of the house, so I'm going to give him a fucking reason to kick me out of the house.
Was he in poor health?
I mean, he had his heart problems, sure, but it's just all of a sudden he had a stroke and fucking dies.
So it was for the most part just out of nowhere.
Yeah, like it literally just came out of nowhere. He had his heart surgery like a year or two before, but he was doing fine.
What spurred the heart surgery? What happened that he had to get heart surgery?
Oh,
And
he
what
had
are
to get
you?
triple bypass.
But what happened? Did he just like collapse, or what was
He
going
had a
on?
massive fucking heart attack.
Were you present for that?
I honestly can't remember. I remember at one point when I was living with him at the duplex, he had to go to the hospital for a few days.
Well, so you had the room to yourself.
Basically.
Do you remember at all what it was like to have the room to yourself?
I'm like, wow, I'm in this house all by myself. I'm literally alone.
Did it feel like you're an adult or that you're alone?
I'm thinking, fuck.
Well, to just finish what I guess we started about, you had one trailer that was haunted, and then you had another trailer. So the first trailer that's haunted is the double wide.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first trailer that's haunted is you and your dad in one room, and it's another family in another room.
Yeah.
Why do you say it's haunted? What was it like that it was haunted?
Doors would open on their own. You would hear things. You'd get this eerie feeling. I'd had weird dreams.
Can you explain in detail, and just one, let's say, maybe multiple, but can you explain in detail these incidences of the doors or the weird dreams or whatever? Like, what is it like at the first house when there's a haunting?
Like, if you're in the place by yourself, it gets a little freaky. Like, the closet doors will open and shut on their own. Some of the doors will too.
Did
Cabinets
you
might
ex- did
open.
you did you see this yourself? You saw doors
Yeah,
open and close.
yeah.
What are you thinking when this is happening?
I fucking ran outside screaming.
What are you thinking when it's like I'm in a fucking I shouldn't swear to demonetize this. I'm in an effing trailer. I'm in a double wide. It's my dad, and we're in a one room. and it's another family, and we just got kicked off the land, and now doors are closing on their own, and cupboards are closing on their own. What are you thinking? What are you thinking at this point in life?
I'm thinking, great, I've moved into another haunted ass house.
Is this the first haunted house?
No, this is the first haunted trailer.
What is the first haunted house?
I don't know if it was haunted, but when I was 5, I did see a ghost.
When you were 5, what is this house? Now, when you're 5, are you still in Texas?
This is the house in Grand Prairie.
Grand Prairie, Texas. Explain the house and explain the ghost.
Okay, my room was at the end of the hallway, and there was another room at the other end of the hallway, and I looked down the hallway, and both the doors were open. And there's just this white, misty, smoky, puffy shape of a fucking ghost. And it just scared the shit out of me, and I ran screaming bloody murder. My mom thought someone was trying to kill me.
What did the ghost look like?
Well, it was like smoky and puffy, and you know,
Was it man or woman?
I don't know. It didn't really have that much shape to it.
Of all the ghosts you've ever seen, what does a typical ghost look like to you of what you've experienced? What do the ghosts that you've experienced have in common? What do they look like typically?
Well, that's the thing. They're never the same.
Well, I guess this gets into another question of what does the ghost look like in the second? Okay, well, I guess you said that wasn't a trailer. That was the very first ghost, and it was a house. What is the first trailer, and what does the ghost look like in the first trailer?
It appeared to you as like an old lady in your dreams.
So is this in the double wide?
Yeah,
Okay, so you're living with your dad now. You're in Holiday.
yeah,
You're in Holiday, Florida, in a trailer. You're living with your dad. You see a ghost in a dream. It's never when you're awake.
yeah.
And what
Although
is
I
this
have
ghost?
seen things move and open, and I would hear things.
Did you ever tell anybody about him?
Oh yeah, everybody in the house knew.
Everybody saw things move and stuff.
Yeah.
What was the ghost like in the double wide?
Like, what do you mean?
Like, did you ever see it?
Only in my dreams.
In the dreams, what did it look like?
It's like old lady, like snow white hair, very like skinny.
And what is the ghost telling you?
That I should dig in the backyard.
Did you ever tell anybody what the ghost told you?
I don't think I did.
Why?
I don't know.
So you never tell anybody what the ghost did, but they say dig by the big tree in the backyard.
Basically, yes.
And you saw the exact location. They say dig in this location by the tree in the backyard.
Yeah.
Do you think that there's something buried there if you went back today?
I don't know.
What is the second haunted trailer?
It's
Because
like
this is the
okay, the trailer is like a street away from my mom's place.
then your current place.
No, from where my mom was living at the time.
Okay, and is she living with your mom at the time, or is she living on her own place?
No, she's living with my grandmother still.
Okay, so she's living with her grandmother. So you're living with your dad at the time.
Yeah.
You live with your dad like a street away from your grandmother. How did that happen? Why did your dad move a street away from your grandmother?
It just happened to be a place for rent. It was cheap, and we're like, hey, we need a place to live.
Did they ever, you know, like cross paths?
Oh yeah, she came over all the time.
What is your mom thinking about your dad at this time? What's the relationship like?
I mean, I don't know. They were cordial with each other.
Did you say like he's beating me? Because I assume there's abuse all throughout this. Do
Oh
you
yeah,
ever
she found
bring
out that he like hit me once, and she got real pissed off.
But from what you've said in this call is that he didn't stop.
Yeah,
Like
of course he didn't stop. He's a fucking idiot.
when she is like there again because she's only a block away or whatever, does it stop or does it keep going on?
No, it keeps going on.
Did you ever tell her again that is going on?
Yeah.
Does she bring it up with your dad and he just doesn't, he's not afraid anymore?
Nope.
Well, okay. I mean, it's something we have to get in deeper, and that's the whole point of the biography. But okay, you're at now the second trailer that's haunted with your dad. That's a block away from your grandma's house. Explain the trailer then? What is it like? Are you alone with your dad? Is it just you and your dad in the trailer?
Yeah, it's just me and my dad.
What is it like? What do you have your own room, or are you in the same room with your dad?
No, I had my own room.
Are you like, wow, this is great, I have my own room?
Yeah, I was psyched.
So you're psyched. Is it a little better in terms of like, his abuse? Is it like, well, I have my own room now, I can have my own space, and do you stay in your own room and you don't go out? Because
Pretty
you
much,
say,
but I'd still be called to do things.
what would he call you to do?
Oh, change the DVD, answer the front door, hand him his phone when it's like right next to him.
This is something, and I didn't intend at all to get into this at all. But you mentioned an interesting thing. Every time I've heard of answer the front door, I remember one time you told me, which I thought was so interesting, is that your dad would come home after work and he would make you answer the door. And he would call you and he would say, like, I'm at the front door, you need to answer it. And you had to get there and answer the door. And if you didn't answer it, he would just be yelling and telling you, like, Ben, answer the front door. So he's working at this time in the second haunted trailer?
Yeah.
He's working. So is it typical that, like, okay, he's gonna get off at like 5:00, let's say, and I got to be there at like 5:30 or something. I got to be right at the door right when he comes in. Is that typical?
Yeah.
What about changing
I literally had to learn
how
the sound of his truck. So when I was in my room and he pulled into the driveway, I would know.
How did he tell you? How did it start? Did you always have to answer the door, or did it start when it was you and him just in the trailer? Would he be ashamed to do that when another family was in the trailer?
No.
But okay, here's a more clear question. When you were in the double wide, did you have to open the door, or did it only start when it was just you and him and this other trailer?
No, it was always that way.
It was always that way since your mom divorced him and left. You always had to answer the door. What did the other family think anything of this?
Oh, they didn't give a shit.
The other family said, okay, I see abuse right in front of my face, but whatever, we're economically disabled or whatever you would say. We're in the same position. Who cares? Like, they just said, who cares?
Basically.
What about the movie? What would it be like of him needing to change a movie?
Oh, he'd be watching Lord of the Rings, and he'd want me to come in there and load in the second DVD.
Now, from what you told me is that, and I'm giving a lot away of my biography, but I don't care because I think the fans need to know because they're interested. And who cares if they read it or listen to it? But what you told me is that his favorite Lord of the Rings, and he loved Lord of the Rings. Is that correct? That
Yes.
was his favorite thing. He loved Lord of the Rings. But his favorite Lord of the Rings was Lord of the Rings Part 2.
Yeah.
Would he say, like, restart Lord of the Rings Part 2?
Basically.
Would you watch Lord of the Rings Part 2 with him?
Sometimes you make me.
What do you mean he'd make you? He'd say, just sit down on the couch, we're going to watch the
I don't
movie.
remember how you would say it.
But he basically, in essence, what he would say is, you're going to watch Lord of the Rings Part 2.
Basically.
What can you describe at all what the feeling is? And obviously it's a bad feeling and maybe you don't want to say, but what is it like watching Lord of the Rings Part 2, and would you
Oh, I
watch
don't
Lord
watch
of the
it.
Rings
I don't
Part?
watch Lord of the Rings. I don't give a shit about it. I don't want nothing to do with it.
So you say, there's trauma related to it and I'm not going to watch it.
Basically, yeah.
What was it like in the midst of it when your dad is saying, I don't get it's a weird thing because your dad is almost trying to say, let's have a father son thing because he loves Lord of the Rings so much. So he says, let's have this father son relationship and you're going to watch it. Like, when he said you're going to watch it, do you think he was trying to be fatherly and say, like, I want to do
I
this thing
have
with
no
my
fucking
son?
clue.
What what was it like? Like, how often would he say, no, Ben, you're going to sit here and watch Lord of the Rings Part 2, basically, with me? Was it just random?
Sorry, what was the question?
Okay, are you back?
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry.
Okay, no, absolutely not. I mean, I work by your schedule and I work by what's happening with your life. No worry at all. But okay, your dad said what is it like typically? Is he typically watching Lord of the Rings, and is he typically watching, you've said Lord of the Rings Part 2, is he typically watching Lord of the Rings, or is he typically watching Lord of the Rings Part 2, or, how does that work?
There were like 5 movies you would watch. And if it wasn't Lord of the Rings, it would be one of the other 4.
I'm sorry, maybe it cut out for me. I don't know if it cut out for the YouTube people, but it did cut out for me. Could you restart that?
I'm sorry, what?
Um, are you ready? I mean, are you ready?
Ready for what?
Well, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. It sort of cut out. If you could just start basically from the part of, being interrupted, but did he typically, what was it like? Did he watch all of the Lord of the Rings, or did he watch just typically Lord of the Rings Part 2, or
No,
like,
he would watch the whole thing, but sometimes he would start with 2 and skip 1.
why did he particularly like Part 2? And
I have
I
no
say this in
idea.
terms Okay, you say that you have no idea. So you say this is an abusive person. But one thing I'm interested in this is Casket's dad, and it's like, how many times has Casket's dad been discussed on Casket's channel? Almost never. And I think this kind of has to do with my biography, and when I'm looking into your biography, and that you might bring this up, and maybe it's just like, me just bringing this up because I indirectly bring it up, but I am extremely fascinated with this fact that your dad, from what you've told me, you said he, for the most part, was fascinated with Lord of the Rings Part 2.
Yes.
Is that correct? Why Part 2, and would he particularly watch Part 2?
I don't know. It's just sometimes you would skip one and go to two.
And I guess Krusty told me this, but do you think it's accurate if I said Casket's dad, his favorite movie, I think this was how Krusty introduced it, but his favorite movie is Lord of the Rings Part 2. Would you say that's accurate?
No, I think his favorite movie is a movie called The Edge.
Really? He would watch this more than Lord of the Rings Part 2.
Yeah.
What's The Edge? I've never even heard
It's
of this,
about
and I've never
it's
even.
about these two guys who get lost in the woods and there's a bear and they have to kill the bear.
Would he watch the same movie over and over and over again?
Oh yeah.
How many times do you think he watched Lord of the Rings Part 2, and how many times do you think he watched The Edge? Just estimate.
I couldn't begin to tell you.
Do you think he watched The Edge over 100 times?
Maybe. Like I
Would you
said,
say he
he
watched?
only had 5 DVDs.
What were his DVDs?
There was The Edge. There was like this other one with like John Leguizamo. He like plays a gangster. Uh, there was Lord of the Rings.
Did he have the whole Lord of the Rings whole thing?
Yeah, the box set.
Okay, Lord of the Rings box set, The Edge. The other thing I didn't hear, but I'll just get it from you later. What was the other thing? Why don't you say? Because maybe the YouTube viewers didn't hear. It's The Edge is the Lord.
It was a John Leguizamo movie where he plays like a gangster.
Okay, so you don't know the exact
No,
title.
I can't remember.
Okay, The Edge, the Lord of the Rings box set, gangster movie, and then what?
I can't remember anymore.
But he has two other movies, let's say.
Yeah.
Is Lord of the Rings his favorite thing? You say no, it's this gangster movie. The gangster movie is his favorite?
No, The Edge.
Oh, I'm sorry. The Edge is his favorite movie. What is The Edge?
It's about these guys who get lost in the woods and there's a bear and they have to kill the bear.
How many times do you think you watched it?
Too many.
Would he just would he say, Ben, sit down on the couch, we're watching this?
I don't remember how he'd phrase it, but I ended up having to watch the damn movie.
Do you have any? Obviously, he's an abuser, and I guess he's your abuser. That's the only way to put it. But do you have any love in your heart for your father, or do you say just like whatever? I'm glad he's gone, and
No,
I don't.
I'm glad he's gone. He's out of my hair. I don't deal with him anymore.
Do you think now you said, and I've discussed this, and obviously this will go in the biography, but obviously he comes from a tough background, I could imagine himself, but he chose to, victimize someone weaker than himself. Do you have any, would you ever like, if you believe the afterlife exists, obviously, but if there is an afterlife and you die and you get to the afterlife and you saw your dad, what would you say? Would you confront him? Would you say like you were an abuser? Do you see his do you see that he was, one in a line of abusers, or what? Do you ever want to see your dad again? How do you feel about your dad today?
I know one thing: as long as I live, I don't want to see him again.
And as long as you live means the afterlife, doesn't it?
I don't know.
Do you think
I'll see how I feel when I get there.
and I'm not trying to argue his point at all. I mean, he was an abusive guy, but in his own way, I mean, you say, yes, I think he was born by an abuser. It's a weird story, and it's something that's going to be included in the biography, and I don't want to, give everything that's going to be in the biography, but Casket's dad was somebody who, in terms of the criminal record, I should say, murdered somebody, and Casket's paternal grandfather, I should say, murdered somebody. And this is in the criminal record. So who knows? Who knows? Do you think when you look back at your dad's, obviously you never experienced it, but when you look back at your dad's childhood, do you say like, do you think your dad's childhood was worse than your childhood? Or do you think that
Oh, probably, yeah.
do you think his dad was really abusive to him as a
Oh, yeah,
child?
for sure. He had to have been.
Do you, and this is a complicated question. I'm not asking one question or another, but do you think like, oh, his dad was really abusive? That's like, how do you reconcile that? What do you think when you say, okay, my dad was abusive, but his dad was really abusive, and maybe this is, he didn't understand? Do you say, oh, he didn't understand? Do you say he understood and he's an asshole and I'm not going to give him the benefit of the doubt? And the benefit of the doubt is very hard to give here, is what I'll say.
Well, let me put it this way: I had a rough childhood too, but you don't see me beating children.
But you don't have a child. You don't have a child. You decided
Yeah, I
just
decided
any.
not to have children because I know I have a slight anger problem, and I wouldn't want to take that out on a child.
Let me ask you this, and I don't think you'd ever be abusive towards a child. And maybe it compounds, and maybe it was even worse with you than with your father. I kind of think it probably was worse with you than with your father. But do you think you didn't have a child in a sense because of that? You said, I know what would happen. For instance, and we just was talking to Chitetris, in which Chitetris mentioned Boogie 2988. And Boogie came from a abusive background, and Boogie always said, like, my parents were so abusive. Maybe you had them more abusive. I don't know. I mean, I'm not even gonna approach it. It's maybe something I'll talk about in private, but he did, from what you've told me, okay, you have physically abusive, but he did, from what he's said, and who even knows about Boogie anymore? Because I think he's a total character, and you just can't trust anything anymore, and he's just only concerned with money. And Cassidy isn't concerned with money. He's a truthful guy, and he's only concerned with him. But it's a long question. I almost forget what I was the direction. So maybe I'm not going to go in the same exact direction as where I started, and people listening are going to be like, "Oh, I'm pissed off" or whatever. But is there any sympathy to your dad, or do you say just like, and this isn't me saying your dad deserves sympathy, because he doesn't. He was an abuser. But I'm more questioning of, here's here's somebody who experienced abuse in terms of their parent, but interestingly, somebody who says, no, my dad was abused himself when he was a kid, and maybe he learned this. Like, do you think at his heart was he a good guy, or at his heart was he a bad guy? And obviously, at your heart, I'll say this: you don't even have to answer it. At your heart, you're a very good guy, and we talked about this with Tetris, but you're a very good guy, and Tetris compared you to, and he always said you're better, but he compared you to a couple other people who we call lol cows, but in each of the cases, they were bad guys, and they had a reason in which they would be bad guys. And Tetris said, basically, Cassie, you're, maybe he didn't say very, maybe he didn't, say that, but he said, you're a good guy, and that's how you differ. And I will say, you are a good guy, and somehow you broke free of this abusive pattern and this, whatever. And you said, not only am I not going to have a kid, maybe that's why you decided I'm not going to have a career and I'm not going to have a kid, because you just said, you're looking at your life and you're looking at what a career means. And it's, I'm going to be, do I want to have a kid in a trailer that I'm abusing and we're living with another family? This is a whole nother thing with why Casket came to be, why he is today. But I almost forget where I'm going, and I'm sorry, because this is such an incredibly long question. You haven't talked so long, and I'm sorry to Casket, I'm sorry to fans. Why don't I bring it back, because obviously the topic of conversation is middle school.
Yes.
And we started, the whole thing that started on this tangent was the haunted trailer. But let me say this, just to finish that other stupid tangent of, you say, I think my dad was who he was because of his own dad. What do you think about your ancestors? What do you think about your dad? You obviously believe in an afterlife. Do you ever think you're going to meet them? And are you ever going to confront them? Like, are you going to confront your dad? Are you going to confront your grandpa, who you never met? As far as I know, Ben Music the First, you never met. Would you confront him and say, like, why did you do what you did that led to me, and that led to, I was so psychologically harmed that I dropped out in 8th grade or whatever? Like, do you think you're going to meet your ancestors? And if you think, including your father, and if you think you will meet them, will you confront them?
I don't know. It would be interesting to meet them.
Do you think you will ever see your dad again? Let's just say that.
I hope I'm dead when it happens.
If I said, 50-50, do you think it's going to happen? Do you think it's going to happen that you meet your dad, and let's say, I don't know to what extent all your ancestors, but all your ancestors who live in America, are you going to meet them? When you die, will you meet them? Is this included in your beliefs?
Well, I believe everybody goes back to the same place, so.
Say this more conclusively. Will you meet your dad? Will you meet your ancestors? What do you think? If I have to ask you right now, and I know who knows about the afterlife, but you have an idea about the afterlife, and according to your idea, are you going to meet your dad, and are you going to meet your
If they're
ancestors?
still there by the time I get there, yeah.
If you meet your dad, what are you going to say to him?
I'd just be like, what the fuck? Why?
Do you think he's going to see you as an equal, or do you think he's
No.
still going to try? Even in the afterlife,
If
he's
my
going to
dad
try
saw
to.
how I lived today, he would like beat me to death or disown me or something.
Is your life worse than your dad? How your dad made you live? I mean, is it that? You know what I mean? Is that there's like you say if your dad saw how you live today, but your dad was living in trailer park after trailer park with you in the same room. I mean, is he living really a better life? Is he living a more prestigious life?
I just know if he found out I turned out gay, he'd probably try to kill me.
So it's mostly about your sexuality in that why you say he wouldn't accept me.
Well, that and a bunch of other shit.
Well, what's the bunch of other shit? Is it that you're like, I'm in an economic position. I don't have a job. I never worked. Is that why you say he would say, disown you?
Yeah.
But wasn't he in a bad economic position?
Nah, he always had a job.
Even at the end, did he have a job?
Yeah, he had his own mechanic shop.
At the end, I don't know. We have to get the F in middle school. But at the end, I mean, it's the whole time he has his own place because I remember you telling me like he's moving very frequently because he's like getting fired from jobs.
Yeah.
But like, is he always has a job? Even at the end, he always has a job.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, well, you know what? We'll talk about that later. Let's get to middle school now because middle school has a lot of stories, and I guess only the real fans who are going to stick with this are going to hear this. And now, can why don't we start by saying, what was the trajectory like? We've obviously described a lot of houses and a lot of different places. What is it like when you start middle school? At least I started middle school in sixth grade. It goes to sixth through eighth. I don't know where you start, but why don't you tell me the houses that you're living in through middle school and who you're living in through middle school? Obviously, we've heard all this, but from sixth through eighth grade, what houses are you living in?
Okay, we'll start from sixth grade.
Okay.
I started out living with my grandma. Then I moved to the duplexes with my dad.
And now I hate to interrupt you because, whatever, but was the first duplex the time with the pizza? The guy gets shot for a pizza?
No.
Was that the second duplex?
No, this was the trailer.
And that's was the trailer in the duplex?
No.
Okay. Where was the pizza? Explain that. I'm sorry to even bring it up, but were you in middle school during that pizza event?
It was right after I quit school.
Okay, so explain your trajectory and explain it up until the guy gets shot for a pizza. So you start with your grandma,
Uh huh.
and then you move to your dad
I
with
moved
the
to my dad
duplex,
in Tarpon
right?
in the duplexes. And then we moved to Holiday. And then we went to go live with my uncle for a little while. And then we went to go live at a place called Pressler's Motel.
Mm.
After that, we moved into the second haunted trailer, which is the trailer I quit school in.
Explain. Okay, I don't know if you're going to say anything else. I took that pause as that. But where do you move immediately after you drop out of school? Let's say that you're at Presley's Motel, and then you move to somewhere else. Where's
And then
that?
Presser's Motel, and then I moved to the second haunted trailer,
Okay. What is
which is
Pressler's
when I
Motel?
quit school.
Oh, you quit school at Pressler's Motel or at the second haunted trailer?
The second haunted trailer.
What is Pressler's Motel like? What is life like at
I
Pressler's
liked it
Motel?
there. I thought it was a cozy little place.
Are you still with? I remember one time I went through every single place that you ever lived that I knew of with you, and I was saying like, did you ever live here? This is an address that I think you were at, and I do remember Pressler's Motel. What was it like? Are you living in the same room with your dad? I
Yeah,
assume
it was
because
just basically they were like they were like they were like duplexes almost, and uh and it was like a one room thing with a bathroom.
so you're still in middle school where this is going on. Are you
Yeah.
now this whole time you've explained multiple places? How many different middle schools are you going to, and can you explain the different middle schools in terms of the
Oh, different
different?
middle school every time I move.
Explain if you can now, and I'm sorry to make you do it, but explain the middle school in terms of the place you're living at.
Oh no. I must have went to at least 5 different middle schools.
You know what? We'll go over that in private in terms of the biography, but okay. I'm gonna, just because it's been going on so long and we've been going on for so much, we'll finally get to middle school, in which I ask one of the classic stories that you told on a live stream, but I don't think it's on your channel, is the gym locker. Could you explain the story of the gym locker to viewers who've never heard the story before?
The gym locker? What do you mean?
Well, maybe it wasn't even the locker, but you had to change clothes for gym or
Oh,
something.
okay, I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
This is a great story. So, the entire year I had never dressed out for gym because I
What?
didn't care about gym.
What? Let me start by this. What year is this? Are you in sixth grade, seventh grade, eighth grade?
Uh, I think I was in 7th grade.
Okay, you're in seventh grade. You don't you say, as you say, dress out, but what you really mean is you don't change your you don't change your outside clothes for gym clothes
Yeah,
for the whole year, because why aren't you changing clothes? You just
because
said like,
I don't care about gym. I don't want to play football or whatever. I'd rather
do,
just sit there and read a book.
now at this time, are you wearing the red shirt? Is it that you're wearing the same clothes every single day at this time?
Not yet.
What are you wearing the red shirt typically, or what are you wearing at
That
this
wasn't
time?
until like 8th grade.
Okay, seventh grade, you're changing clothes regularly, um, but you have to change for gym, and you're just like, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell the story.
Well, I didn't care about gym, so I never dressed out. And my coach got pissed off one day, and he like took me to my locker. He's like, "Where are your gym clothes? This and that." I'm like, "I left them at home." I was like, "Where's your locker?" And he like went to my locker, and my locker didn't even have the padlock on it because somebody had stolen it. And then he got
And then,
really mad. So then he's like, "I'm calling your parents right now. Where are the numbers?" At the time, I didn't know the number. He's like, "Fine, you're bringing it to me tomorrow." And I'm like, cool as a cucumber. I'm like, "Fine, I will." And all my friends are like, "Ooh, you're in trouble with the codes." I'm like, guys, I've got this. So I tell my mom, she's like, "Yeah, here's my number. Have him call whenever." And came in, and he's like, "Where's the number?" I'm like, "It's right here." He's like, well, he acted surprised that I had it. And I was perfectly fine. I wasn't worried at all. He was confused. And he called my mom, and she basically is like, "Yeah, if he doesn't want to dress up for PE, I'm not going to make him do it. Fuck you," basically.
and that was it. You just, after that point, you never changed
Well,
clothes
after
for
that, he
gym.
comes out of his off. Well, the whole time he's on the phone, his face is getting redder and redder because he's getting angrier and angrier. He comes out of his office. His face is so red. He's so pissed off. My friends are like, "Oh, he's gonna kill you for sure."
And then what happens?
I can't remember what happened after that. I was too busy laughing.
I think, if I remember, I think you told a fuller story of this, and I don't know. I mean, I guess the end of the story is that he says, he just says, whatever. He has to accept that, and the class goes on basically, and you have to wear whatever your normal clothes. So you just wear the normal clothes for the rest of gym from that point on,
Yeah.
and it's not the red shirt at this point.
No.
How does the red shirt start? Where are you? Where are you living? You've mentioned in an earlier video about, you have a video called Why I Wear a Red Shirt, but you don't really give the backstory. Where you're living, how does it start that all of a sudden you start just, you have one shirt left? How does that story start?
Well, when we moved from Preston's Motel to the haunted trailer, my dad forgot all of my clothing, so I had very little clothing.
What is the second haunted trailer? Could you explain this at all? I don't remember if you did explain it, but what is it like? It's just you and your dad in the
It's like a
trailer?
two-bedroom trailer. It had like a living room and a kitchen.
Did you have your own room?
Yeah, yeah.
Is it like, wow, this is an upgrade?
Oh, yeah.
What are you thinking when you hear your dad say, like, oh, I forgot all of your clothing?
I was pissed off.
It's whatever, basically, I guess then. So you have to you just go buy the clothes on your back and you have a red shirt at this point.
Yep.
Do
And
you have a red
I
shirt?
basically wore it till it fell apart.
You have a red shirt and you wear it, and this is eighth grade at this point.
Yeah.
You wear it until it falls apart, but even after it falls apart, you continue wearing it and you use safety pins
Yeah, that's
to
true. I did.
you use safety pins to hold it together, and then a teacher says, "Is there anything wrong?"
Yeah.
Who was this teacher, and what did you think when a teacher comes up to you and says, "Is there anything wrong?"
I can't even remember.
You don't remember what the teacher was, and you don't remember. Well, let's just say this: in your video where you talk about the red shirt, you say a teacher comes up to you. I don't think you were specified, but you say a teacher comes up to you, and then when they say, like, is there anything wrong? You say, no, there's nothing wrong. Like, go away. Like, you don't want the teacher there. Do you today agree? Is it like your tip? You're just like, there's nothing wrong. I don't want to hear anything from you, from this teacher.
I'm sorry, I zoned out there.
From what I remember about your video of why I wear a red shirt, you said that the teacher comes up to you and says, like, Ben, is there anything wrong? And you go, no, there's nothing wrong. Like, just go away. And is that just generally what you're feeling? Or are you feeling just like, just get a, like, go away? I don't want to hear anything.
Yeah, I'd be like, I was like, why would anything be wrong? I don't understand.
Do you think that the teacher was right to say, Ben, is there anything wrong?
Well, I mean, my shirt was held together with safety pins, so
So, do you agree a teacher should say, I should, intervene in this situation?
yeah, I think so.
What do you feel today about that teacher? Do you feel like, you were trying to help me and I didn't let you help me?
I don't know. I don't think about it.
You don't remember at all who that teacher was?
No, I don't. It might have been the principal, actually.
Do you think you were, if it was the principal, do you think you were called in the principal's office?
No, it was in the lunchroom.
Well, what? Do you remember it all? You're in the lunchroom, the
I'm in the
principal comes, like, what's that?
lunchroom. It might have been the principal.
Are you eating alone?
I might have been eating alone at the time.
What were your friends like in middle school?
Um, uh, I mean, basically, we were the group of people that no one else would hang out with.
What were they like? Try to describe it as you can.
There was
This group.
Chris. He was an alright guy. There was the Asian girl who didn't speak English. There was the one kid who had skipped a couple of grades. And then there was Tim, the Satanist.
Wow, I've never heard of this before. Obviously, nowadays you're Luciferian. Do you think Tim, the Satanist, influenced you at all in terms of
No,
Satanism? Why do you say no? I mean, did he explain Satanism at all to you?
no.
How did you know he was a Satanist?
He wore an upside down cross.
What did you think of him at that time?
I mean, I thought he was an alright guy. He gave great advice.
What advice did he give you?
I can't remember. I just remembered it was always good advice.
What was Chris like?
He was like my best friend.
Really, what was Casket's best friendship like at that point?
We hung out, played Yu-Gi-Oh a lot.
Did it end after you dropped out?
Basically.
What were you when you dropped out? Did you think, "Ah, I'm like leaving Chris here"?
No, because I figured we'd still see each other around the neighborhood.
Did you see him again?
Once or twice.
What did he say after you dropped out? You see him again. Is he like, Casket, why aren't you at school anymore?
No, they all knew I was quitting.
How did they know you're quitting? Did you tell everybody?
Yeah, I told everybody, like, yeah, if I fail, I'm just quitting. Fucking.
Did anybody say, no, don't, you need to stay in school? Or did they
Well,
say
yeah, a
whatever?
couple of people.
What was it like? What was that decision of, I'm quitting?
I just thought I'm gonna quit and I'll be able to do whatever I want all day.
Where? Are you still living with your dad at this point?
Yeah.
But aren't you saying like, my dad's abusive, living at home all day with my dad's not gonna be that fun?
Well, he was at work all day, so I had the house to myself.
Oh, so you're saying if I quit, I could actually have some part of the day where I don't have any adult telling me that I'm doing wrong.
Yeah.
What was it like? What was it like quitting? What was it like?
Oh, it was
I
great.
mean,
I had internet, I had cable, I could do whatever I wanted.
do you remember when you quit? Like what it was like when you like literally quit?
Well, I got my report card, and it's like, well, I guess I quit.
So you got your report card and it said like you failed enough classes to where you had to repeat the eighth grade.
Yep.
What do you remember? What classes you failed?
I can't remember.
Do you was it? Did you have a like truancy problem? Like were you not in class very often?
I don't think so.
Like would you get to class like every day, basically?
Basically, yeah.
So you're in class every day, but are you not doing the homework, or is it just things aren't working out?
No, I never did the homework. I never cared.
You never did the homework, you never cared, and now eighth grade. If I remember correctly, did you have to repeat eighth grade a time even before this? Before
No.
the Okay, did you ever have to repeat a grade?
Third grade.
What was it like when you have to repeat third grade?
Oh, it fucking sucks.
Was it? I mean, I don't know. It sucks to repeat third grade. Okay, we can just fill in the blanks. But okay, what about when you're in middle school? One of the famous stories that you told on live stream, if I remember correctly, maybe you told in the CNC podcast, but I don't think so, is the air freshener. And I'll just say air freshener. And you know the story. Can you tell in detail, like what class are we in? How does it work? What is the air freshener story?
It was either English or geography, and I had an air freshener put on my desk because it was my last class of the day, and the class before that was gym.
So the class before this is gym. Your coach says you need to change your clothes, and you say no, and they say I'm going to call your parents, and they call your mom, and your mom says I don't care if then change clothes or not. So you don't change clothes, and then at the end of the day, you haven't changed clothes, and you're smelly, so that the either English or geography teacher puts an air freshener on your desk because they feel that you smell.
Yes.
What is it like? How does it work the first time that they put the air freshener on your desk? What is like? How do they justify putting the air freshener on your
I
desk?
can't even remember. I knew it was because of me.
Were you pissed off
Yeah, I was pissed off. I'm like, great, just great.
when they put? Was it a man or a woman teacher?
I want to say woman.
When they put the air freshener on your desk, are you like, is this eighth grade?
Yeah,
Are you like, I'm gonna fail this, grade and I never have to come back? Is that what you're thinking?
basically.
Do you think that is partially the fault of the teacher? You have a very tumultuous home life. You have an abusive home life, even. You have a hard home life. And it's like you have to deal with this gym coach who is on your case. And then after gym, it's this teacher who's putting the air freshener on your desk and making you feel like you smell. Are you just saying like F school? I hate school. I just want to, be done with this.
Basically.
Do you think that if you had better teachers, do you think it would have worked a little differently?
I don't know.
How much of how much of it was okay? You had a lot. Let me ask you this: how much of it was Casket King? How much of Casket leaving school was Casket King's fault?
I don't know.
If just give me a percentage. Is it 100% or is it 5%?
I don't know. I don't know.
Is Okay, you've mentioned, okay, there was a problem with the teachers, there was a problem with your living situation, there was a problem with your dad who you're living with at the time. Is there any percentage that's Casket's fault?
I, I don't know. I was a teenager at the time. What do you expect?
But when you look back, don't you say, you know what? If things had been different, I could have graduated, but I was in a very bad position. And I didn't have the adults around me were not the adults I needed around me.
I don't know.
Well, this is the typical problem. It's just how much of this is Casket and how much of this is his surroundings. We talked about it with Tetris. I hope that the viewers have a better understanding nowadays. Um, I think this is the most in depth any viewer has ever heard about middle school or your life, whether it's middle school or not. Um, I don't know if we'll continue this with Casket's housing situation. Is very complex. I'm writing a biography in which I think I'm trying to get all the nuances included. I think we've talked about a ton. I don't know how long this video has gone on, but I think Casket viewers who stick in and stay with this video are going to be they're going to hear a lot of things they hadn't heard before, and they might have a different view of Casket King. And I hope it, in my opinion, I hope it makes them more sympathetic. I don't know that they will be. It's up to the individual. It's what we talked about with Tetris. Watch interview with a viewer if you're interested, because we get into this dialogue of, is it Kafka's fault or is it his surroundings? And it's an interesting question, and I don't know. I'll say, I think this is a good place to end for me. Kafka, do you have anything else to say about the topic of middle school?
I was a really edgy loser.
I didn't understand what Kafka said. I'm sure you did. It sounded like blah, 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 blah. But that's the blah, 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 blah. It's the end off note. I think all of us really care about Casket. And we're fascinated with him, and that's why the Casket channel goes on. And I hope that we fed that fascination here. I want to thank you for being here. I've been the historian, as Casket calls me. Casket, how do your sign off?
Yeah. Goodbye, everybody. I'll see you in the next video.
Goodbye.